Welcome back to Penny Collector, the ultimate destination for coin lovers, rare penny hunters, and numismatic explorers. Today, we're diving deep into a classic and fascinating coin that holds a special place in the hearts of American coin collectors. First up, the 1968 Lincoln Wheat Penny with the Denver Mint mark, also known as the 1968 D Wheat Penny. While it might look like an ordinary copper coin at first glance, this penny carries a blend of history, rarity, and potential value that makes it truly worth investigating. Whether you're a beginner in coin collecting or a seasoned collector looking to complete your Lincoln series, this is one coin you'll want to learn about in detail. The 1968 D Lincoln Wheat Penny is a standout piece for several reasons. First and foremost, 1968 was a pivotal year in the evolution of U.S. coinage. This penny still features the classic portrait of President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, designed by Victor David Brenner, which has remained on the penny since 1909. However, by 1968, the U.S. Mint had already shifted from producing wheat reverse pennies to the Lincoln Memorial reverse starting in 1959. So here's something important: there is actually no official 1968 Lincoln Wheat Penny produced by the U.S. Mint. The reverse of 1968 penny should show the Lincoln Memorial, not wheat ears. This has created confusion among collectors because many people still refer to these as wheat pennies out of habit or misunderstanding, especially when the coin is worn and the design is hard to distinguish. If you have a real 1968 penny with a wheat reverse, that could potentially mean you're holding a major mint error or an altered coin, which would significantly impact its value and demand expert verification. Now let's talk specifically about the 1968 D penny, the one with the D Mint mark just below the year on the obverse, indicating it was struck at the Denver Mint. The Denver Mint produced over 2.89 billion pennies in 1968, which makes this coin relatively common in terms of mintage numbers. Most of these coins were used in circulation, which means finding one in pristine, uncirculated condition can be a bit of a treasure hunt. A standard 1968 D penny in average circulated condition is made primarily of copper, weighs about 3.11 grams, and has a plain edge. In good condition, its value mostly comes from its copper content, which today is worth around 2 to 3 cents. But when we look at the collector's market, things get more interesting. If you have a 1968 D penny in good to fine condition, it might be worth about $500 to $1,000, just slightly above face value. However, a coin in extremely fine condition can sell for 25 cents to $1, depending on the demand and the presence of any visual appeal or uniqueness. The real jump in value happens when the coin is in uncirculated or mint state condition. For example, a 1968 D penny graded MS65 read by professional grading companies like PCGS or NGC can fetch between $500 to $1,500 and sometimes even more if the coin has exceptional luster, full strike, and no spots or blemishes. In fact, a top-graded MS67 red 1968 D penny has sold at auction for over $10,000, which is impressive for a coin that many people overlook in their change jars. Now, beyond condition and grade, what else could make your 1968 D Lincoln penny valuable? One major factor is the presence of errors and varieties. Error coins are always highly sought after in the collector's world. Some 1968 D pennies show signs of double die obverse or reverse. These coins have noticeable doubling on the date, lettering, or Lincoln's profile. A 1968 D double die can command significantly higher prices, ranging from $2,000 to several $100s, depending on the intensity of the doubling and the coin's overall state. You may also find 1968 D pennies with off-center strikes, clipped planchets, or die cracks, and these types of mint errors can dramatically increase a penny's market value. So, always take a close look at your coin with a magnifying glass or loupe. Sometimes, even a tiny detail can make a huge difference in price. Another factor that can influence the value of your 1968 D penny is its color. Collectors categorize Lincoln cents as red, RD, red-brown, RB, or brown, BN, depending on the amount of original red mint luster remaining on the surface. A red 1968 D penny is the most desirable and commands the highest value, while a brown one, though still collectible, is usually on the lower end of the price scale. So if you're holding a brilliant red specimen with sharp details and minimal marks, consider getting it graded. It could be worth more than you think. To summarize, the 1968 D Lincoln penny may be common in circulated grades, but it holds hidden value depending on its condition, mint errors, and rarity factors. While a worn example might be worth only a few cents, a high-grade or error variety can sell for $10,000, $50,000, or even over $60,000 in today's coin market. And remember, coin values can fluctuate based on collector demand and metal prices, so it's always wise to stay updated through coin auctions, collector forums, and pricing guides. If you've got a 1968 D penny sitting in your collection, don't dismiss it as pocket change just yet. Take a close look, you might be holding a valuable piece of American numismatic history. And if you're lucky enough to find one in mint condition or with a rare error, you could be looking at a very nice return on what many would consider just a humble penny. Next up, 1974 Lincoln penny that appears to have AP mint mark and is in dirty or heavily circulated condition. At first glance, this might seem like just another worn-out copper penny, but there's a bit of mystery and education behind it that every collector should understand before jumping to conclusions about its value or rarity. Let's start with the basics. The 1974 Lincoln penny was struck during a time when the U.S. Mint was experimenting with alternatives to the standard copper composition due to rising metal costs. As a result, most 1974 Lincoln cents were minted from 95% copper and 5% zinc, weighing approximately 3.11 grams. Over 4 billion of these pennies were struck at the Philadelphia Mint, and these coins, by tradition, do not carry a mint mark. That's right, Philadelphia did not start placing the P mint mark on Lincoln cents until 2017. So, if you have a 1974 penny and it looks like there's a P on it, there are a few possibilities that need to be considered carefully. One common explanation is simple damage or corrosion. Pennies in dirty or corroded condition often develop pits, scratches, or stains that can resemble letters or numbers. In many cases, collectors find markings that appear to be a P, but under magnification, these turn out to be nothing more than a coincidental discoloration or a nick in the metal caused by years of circulation. Another possibility is that the coin has been altered post-mint by someone stamping or engraving a P onto it as a novelty or counterfeit mark. This does not make the coin rare or more valuable. In fact, it may decrease its value from a collector's perspective because the coin has been tampered with. If you're holding a dirty 1974 penny that appears to have AP mint mark, the first step is to clean it carefully, if at all. However, serious coin collectors and appraisers often recommend not cleaning coins, because cleaning can damage the coin's natural surface and reduce its market value. If you do want to investigate the mark further, the best approach is to use a magnifying glass or digital microscope to examine whether the mark is truly engraved, stamped, or simply a discoloration. You can also compare it side by side with confirmed images of 1974 Lincoln cents from the Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco mints to spot the difference. Now let's talk about value. A standard 1974 Lincoln penny from the Philadelphia Mint in dirty or heavily circulated condition is worth about some dollars, its face value. The copper content, while worth slightly more than a cent in raw metal, cannot be legally melted down in the US, so it does not add much to its market value. If your 1974 penny appears worn, dirty, or damaged, its collectible value is very limited. Even a clean, high-grade 1974 Lincoln penny from Philadelphia with a mint state rating of MS65 or higher is usually worth around $500 to $1,000 depending on its luster, strike quality, and color. So, a dirty or damaged example will unfortunately not reach those price levels. However, this doesn't mean your penny is useless. Every coin tells a story, and even common coins like this can be used to teach others about minting practices, coin design, and the historical context of US currency. Additionally, if your coin does turn out to be a genuine mint error, such as a die clash, off-center strike, or double die, then it could potentially be worth much more. For that, you'd need to have it evaluated by a professional grading service or a trusted local coin dealer. In summary, a 1974 Lincoln penny that looks like it has a P mint mark is most likely a Philadelphia Mint coin with no actual mint mark, and what appears to be a P is likely due to dirt, wear, or damage. In dirty condition, it's generally worth 1 cent, unless it possesses a rare and confirmed mint error. That said, it's still a fascinating coin to explore, especially for those learning the differences between real mint marks and the tricks played by years of circulation. At Penny Collector, we believe every coin has a lesson to teach, no matter its face value. Next up, the 1989 Lincoln penny with no mint mark. At first glance, it might look like just another ordinary coin, but in the world of numismatics, even the most common pennies can reveal stories of history, design, minting practices, and sometimes, hidden value. So let's take a closer look at the 1989 Lincoln penny struck without a mint mark and find out what it might be worth in today's market. First, let's talk about the design and background of the 1989 Lincoln cent. This coin features the well-known portrait of President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, designed by Victor David Brenner. This design has been used on the penny since 1909 and is one of the longest-running coin designs in United States history. On the reverse, we see the image of the Lincoln Memorial, a design that was introduced in 1959 to mark the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. Both sides of the coin carry the traditional inscriptions, "In God We Trust," "Liberty," the date, 1989, and on the reverse, "United States of America, E Pluribus Unum," and 1 cent. Now let's talk about the minting. If your 1989 penny has no mint mark, that means it was minted at the Philadelphia Mint. It's important to note that during this time, the Philadelphia Mint did not place a P mint mark on pennies. So if your coin has no letter under the date, it is not an error or a rare variety, it simply means it was made in Philadelphia. This practice was standard until 2017, when the Mint briefly introduced the P on cents to honor the Philadelphia Mint's 225th anniversary. But for the 1989 penny, no mint mark is completely normal and expected. Now let's talk about how common or rare this coin is. In 1989, the Philadelphia Mint produced over 7.26 billion Lincoln pennies. Yes, that's billion with a B. That makes the 1989 no mint mark Lincoln penny one of the most common modern U.S. coins in circulation. Because of this extremely high mintage, most of these pennies were used in daily commerce and have been circulating for decades. It's very likely that the 1989 penny you found is dirty, worn, or has some damage from use over the years. In this condition, the coin is generally worth 1 cent, its face value. Even though it is made of copper-plated zinc, it does not contain enough copper to give it any real melt value, and it is illegal to melt U.S. pennies for metal content anyway. However, there are still situations where the 1989 penny with no mint mark can be worth more than face value. For example, if the coin is in uncirculated or mint state condition, especially if it has been preserved in a coin roll or collection, it can be worth between $10 and $100 depending on its grade and color. Coins that are graded MS65 red, meaning they have full red luster and minimal contact marks, can sell for $500 or more from reputable dealers. The highest auction prices for 1989 no mint mark pennies have been paid for specimens graded MS67 red, which can reach values of $700 or more, although such coins are very rare and must be professionally graded by PCGS or NGC to command such prices. Now let's talk about what collectors and hobbyists should really look out for: error coins. While the standard 1989 penny from Philadelphia is common, error versions can be quite valuable. Keep an eye out for double die errors, where the lettering or Lincoln's portrait appears slightly doubled due to a misalignment during the striking process. These coins are not extremely common, but if you do find one, it could be worth anywhere from $2,500 to several $100s, depending on the severity of the doubling and the coin's condition. Other valuable errors to watch for include off-center strikes, die cracks, clipped planchets, and coins struck on the wrong planchet, such as a dime blank. If you think you've found something unusual, don't rush to clean it. Instead, have it examined by a trusted coin expert or submit it for professional grading. Another feature collectors often pay attention to is the color classification of Lincoln pennies. Coins are graded based on whether they are red, RD, red-brown, RB, or brown, BN. Red coins are the most desirable because they have maintained their original mint luster. A 1989 no mint mark penny that is fully red and graded MS65 or higher can bring much more money than one that has turned brown or shows signs of oxidation. But again, these are rare finds and usually require the coin to be taken directly from a sealed mint set or roll and stored in ideal conditions. So, what does all of this mean for your dirty 1989 penny with no mint mark? In most cases, it is simply worth 1 cent, especially if it is heavily circulated, dirty, scratched, or corroded. However, don't throw it away just yet. Take a moment to look for any odd features that could point to a mint error. And if you ever come across a 1989 Lincoln penny in shiny, uncirculated condition with no wear, it may be worth setting aside for future evaluation. Even common coins can surprise us when they're preserved well or show signs of something unusual. Next up, the 1990 Lincoln penny with no mint mark. At first glance, this might seem like a simple, everyday coin that doesn't deserve much attention. But in the world of numismatics, the 1990 no mint mark penny has a story behind it that you don't want to miss. Whether you found one in your loose change or you're digging through an old coin jar, you might be wondering, is this penny special, and is it worth more than 1 cent? Let's find out. To begin, let's talk about the basics of the 1990 Lincoln cent. Like all Lincoln pennies since 1909, this coin features the profile of President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, a design created by Victor David Brenner. The reverse of the 1990 penny still showcases the Lincoln Memorial, a design that was used from 1959 until 2008. It also carries all the standard inscriptions, "In God We Trust," "Liberty," the date, 1990, and on the back, "United States of America, E Pluribus Unum," and 1 cent. But what really captures collectors' attention is the mint mark, or in this case, the lack of one. A 1990 penny with no mint mark was minted at the Philadelphia Mint. It's important to understand that this is completely normal for pennies from this year. The Philadelphia Mint did not add a P mint mark to 1 cent coins until the year 2017, so a missing mint mark on a 1990 penny is not an error, and does not make the coin rare. In fact, the Philadelphia Mint struck an incredible 6.8 billion Lincoln pennies in 1990 without a mint mark. Because of this enormous mintage, the 1990 no mint mark penny is extremely common in circulation, and most examples are worth only 1 cent, especially in dirty or heavily worn condition. Now, while a typical 1990 no mint mark penny in circulated or dirty condition is not valuable, there is a version of this coin that made headlines among collectors, and that is the 1990 no S proof penny. This coin was part of the special proof sets minted at the San Francisco Mint, which usually bear an S mint mark. However, a small number of proof pennies were accidentally released without the S mint mark, making them incredibly rare. These coins were struck in much higher quality than regular circulation pennies, with mirror-like fields and sharp details, and were never meant for general use. If you ever find a shiny, high-detail 1990 penny with no mint mark in what appears to be proof condition, you may want to have it professionally graded, because this no S proof penny has sold at auction for over $15,000 in top condition. However, this is extremely rare, and most people will never encounter one unless they are buying or selling high-end proof sets. Back to regular 1990 no mint mark pennies, the value can increase slightly if your coin is in mint state condition. That means it shows no signs of wear, has full original luster, and has never been in circulation. A 1990 no mint mark penny graded MS65 red might sell for $2 to $5, while higher grades like MS66 or MS67 red could fetch $10 to $50 depending on collector demand. The highest grade examples, especially those certified by PCGS or NGC, can occasionally reach over $100, but these are very rare and must be nearly flawless. These coins are most often found in original rolls or uncirculated mint sets, not in everyday pocket change. Now, let's talk about errors, because this is where some of the real value in modern coins can be found. If your 1990 penny shows signs of double die errors, off-center strikes, clipped planchets, die cracks, or lamination issues, it could be worth more. For example, a strong double die with visible doubling on Lincoln's date or the lettering can bring in $20,000 to several $100s, depending on the severity and the grade of the coin. Off-center errors, especially those that still show the full date, are also collectible and may sell $4.10 to $50,000 or more depending on the degree of the strike and how much of the design is missing. So, what should you do if you have a 1990 penny with no mint mark in dirty or circulated condition? In most cases, it's just worth 1 cent. But don't be too quick to dismiss it, always check your coins carefully. If it has any unusual features, such as doubling, missing design elements, or a high shine like a proof coin, you should take a closer look. Use a magnifying glass or a coin loop, and compare it with images from official coin resources. And if you really think it's something special, consider having it evaluated by a professional grading service. To summarize, a regular 1990 no mint mark Lincoln penny is common and not rare. In dirty or circulated condition, it holds its face value of 1 cent. In mint state, it could be worth a few dollars. And in the extremely rare case that you find a 1990 no S proof penny, you might be holding a small fortune. Always check your change, because even common coins can surprise you, and every coin tells a story worth knowing. Thank you for watching Penny Collector. If you enjoyed learning about this coin, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and click the bell icon so you never miss another deep dive into the fascinating world of coin collecting. Until next time, keep your eyes open and your change jars full. Happy collecting.